All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Attack on Titan, Season 4, Episode 11. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
we've got ourselves in a situation where everyone's,
Separated.
Separated, yeah. And in some ways, that's good.
Especially for Zeke and Eren,
Especially
keep
for
them
Zeke
far,
and
far
Eren.
away. Zeke's
Yeah.
got his nice hotel and the place
Yeah.
with all the big trees.
But they've been doing this thing with giving little bits of flashback alongside
Yes.
stuff in the present, kind of catching us up to speed a little bit. I would say then, if this continues, that we're due potentially to have maybe a little bit more recent flashback stuff.
Oh,
that would
yes.
be something that'd be really nice.
Like 3, 2, 1 kind of a thing. Like we got 3 and 2 before, so now time for the 1 year ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, just kind of getting a little bit more understanding with what the current plan is with Zeke.
Right.
Given that Historia is pregnant, are they going to move things along with regards to making her a Titan? Or is there going to be some potential double crossing involved, which I would assume there is, because this episode is called Deceiver. So that's not ominous at all.
I'm sure it's nothing. You know, it's probably something completely harmless. No. But after all, we have Pictius on the case with his big brain.
So, and also some fantastic comments here.
We do indeed.
From y'all that sent them in last week. From G Guru 1, trust. The 104th were building the railroad together. Railroads connect distant people and places. They were building outward. They were stopped building the railroad forward by Hanji, telling them that they were out of time. Next scene is them putting down their construction tools and riding the train backwards, talking about plans for attacking Marley and possibly inciting the rumbling. Brilliant framing, in my opinion. Yeah, that's a really cool point there. And it's also kind of fun to think about it from the standpoint that they're on an island, so it's actually impossible for them to finish the railroad tracks in terms of building outward beyond parity.
Right, it's probably just for like connecting the ports to the inner areas of the island and stuff.
Right, yeah. So they can keep supplies moving in a rather seamless manner, given that they haven't done any infrastructure work, until before this, with the Titans now being actually cleared out, which is a pretty big deal. So
kind of need that stuff.
Yeah, very, very cool comment. Thank you for that. In spectacle, trust. We're at a point where I honestly believe Eren himself has become the basement of season 4. I'm with you.
Yeah, it does kind of feel that way.
I agree. There's so many questions regarding his choices and actions, all of which have answers that are lying inside his head. Yep. No one understands him because they don't have the context to do so, just like no one understood the reality of the world due to pure ignorance in the past, viewer included. Yeah, and there have been hints given to both over the course of seasons 1 through 3, building up to the basement, and just over the course of season 4 with drawing a lot of parallels to stuff happening in the Marley side of things, and as well as all these flashbacks that have been kind of giving us a little bit more of a build-up to understanding who our Eren is, or where our Eren is when he goes and infiltrates Marley.
Exactly.
One thing is clear, Eren most certainly talked with Zeke during his time in Liberia and some sort of agreement was made. Yes. Yes, absolutely. They talked.
Baseball mitt was exchanged.
And nothing happened. Nothing crazy happened. So
which
that means
good.
That means then that they're framing the stuff of where Eren is looking into the mirror and kind of resolving himself with his Tatakai is that he's found a path. Yeah. He's found a path forward, if you will.
Oh, man, the irony.
Yes, I very much chose those words intentionally. Whatever that was, it's probably why Eren seems to be so distanced from everyone else, something that makes pulling Mikasa, Armin, and everyone else into danger a conceivable path to take. Yep. And isn't that a bitch?
Yep. And I left a reply in there just because it was, I loved it so much.
Oh my God.
From Spooky Boogie.
From Spooky Boogie with the reply to this, you either die a hero or live long enough to become the basement.
So it do be like that. But thank you.
Yes, thank you for that wonderful comment. Spectre, with trust. I find it interesting how you can, in a way, make comparisons to what Eren has done with Marley to every one of Erwin's plans and sacrifices, which leads to more deaths, sometimes with no victory. So it seems hypocritical to me for the scouts to turn on Eren and almost blame him for Sasha's death and the few losses of the Marley attack, when they were perfectly fine with Erwin taking the same risks with more sacrifices. So, the difference, though, is where was Erwin when these risks were being had and when these sacrifices were being made. He was right there with them.
Yep. And the other potential issue is that Erwin didn't kind of force them into it. Yep. Right? Like yes, it was very much like I'll get you all riled up and like, all right, come on, let's go.
But he gave them the idea that many of you are probably going to die. You need to give your hearts for humanity. That was a part of the whole thing. Whereas Eren is not one to give big oratory, like, kind of declarations of what this is all going to mean and try and, like, lie to them in order to make them willing to sacrifice themselves.
That meeting them where they're at kind of a thing. It's just, nope, I'm going to do this thing and y'all better be here.
Yeah. Yeah. But great comment there.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Spectre.
Yes, because a lot of people I feel like don't necessarily make that connection between Eren and Erwin and all the crazy sacrifices that end up getting made and stuff. Because this kind of thing, both with Eren and then with other characters in the show, has been thematically built up too.
Yeah.
So.
Also, just you mentioned Pixis earlier, and I posted a thing on Twitter before we recorded this episode. I'm going to be referencing some stuff that was discussed between myself, my dad, and Jacob with regards to a bit where we had him kind of catch up a bit to Attack on Titan Season 4.
All right.
And we got him up to episode 5, I think.
Yes.
So we got him to the Declaration of War.
His mind was just melted after that. Like watching the
episodes
first 5
4
episodes
and 5 especially.
Season 4 back to back.
Right, episodes 4 and 5 especially. He was just like...
Like every 3 or 4 minutes he was like, okay, pause, hold on. So, wait a minute. This means that...
But the guy went full like galaxy brain on the OP and ED in some ways that I just did not at all think of. And much to Jacob's like, damn it, no! Like, my dad very much divined some interesting things from that I will be referencing. So just FYI about that. So, y'all, episode 11 of season 4, Deceiver.
Yep.
Without further ado, let's get into it. Wow. Oh my god.
Yep.
Jeez. Wow. Holy crap.
Uh-huh.
Well, they're gonna get free.
Boy.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, buddy.
This transition again.
Yeah, the same.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you lived, buddy. You survived.
Gabiとファルコの声が聞こえた。
Whoa.
Gone.
二人はどこだ?
Oh. All right. Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh shit. These
This
aren't
is so
tall
gorgeous.
trees, so we're good for now. Oh, this is good. Oh.
She's that attached to it.
Yep. That's not what that means, Gabi. Oh. Oh. Wait, is that Historia?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, no, definitely
Different
not.
character.
Whoa. I don't know why I thought that was Historia. There's obviously no, like, baby bump. Wait, but this could be the place where Historia is staying, though. Yeah, good call. Good call, Falco. Wait. Okay. He gave me a little bit of a... Browse?
Yep.
Browse?
Yep.
It was! Oh!
Not
I was
just
like
any
that,
devil's
Yeah,
Gabi.
that looked like Sasha's dad. I was like, that looks like him, but... Oh! And this is, you killed the...
Uh-huh. Yep.
And they don't even know yet. Like,
なハンジさん説明してくれ。志願しないから全人民強制退去命令だ。
yeah,
区の再建にリーブス紹介は発生したの
yeah.
兵団だろ。
憲兵に当たってくれ。
ハンジさん
Oh, and that's the good journalist from
Yeah, yeah.
that season 3. Yeah.
アジア人に生きる未来はあるのだと。そうであれば兵団とイエ
How
ーガ
the
ー
turns
氏
have
との関係は
tabled.
Seriously.
エルディア国民の問題です。
あなたは情報は納税者に委ねられるとおっしゃっていましたが、その姿勢に変化があったのですか？
状況が変わったんだよ。壁が開かれ、世界とつながり、情報の持つ意味が変わったんだ。
Right.
立場なのはわかるよ。ハンジさん
Oh.
だから目を見て言ってくれ。信じていいって。
すべてはエルディア国民、みんなのためだ。
Oof.
Yeah.
Trust. Trust. Ay, ay, ay.
エレンの情報を渡したのは君たち。
Wow.
ホルガ、ビム、ルイーゼ、新兵の君た
And
ち
of。course, Floch.
なんでそんなことを。
エレンは我々新生エルディア
Yep, they're just straight up calling it that. Okay,
そ
yep,
の
of
ジェネラルが
course.
期待通りに機能して、我々を救う保証は何もないんだよ。このままの時間を消費する余裕が我々
Do
に
we
あるので
really?
しょうか。
That is a good question.
Excellent question.
That is an amazing question.
この国を導くのはエレン・イェーガーです。今すぐ彼を解放してください。
この4人を懲罰房へ。
壁中人類の勝利のためなら本望です。
Wow.
役を降りても誰かがすぐに代わりを言う。
Wow, what a callback. to
Yeah.
Season 2.
Uh-huh.
頑張れよ、ハンジ。
巨人を人の力でねじ伏せたあなたを見て分かったのです。
All the way back to season
力がな
1.
ければ何も守れないと。
Wow,
私たち
cool.
は理不尽な暴力と戦っていいのだと学んだのです。ミカサさんが調査兵団に入った理由は何ですか？イエガ
That's
ーさん
uh,
のためなら
she leaves.
彼の自由を
Yeah.
私から言えることは一つ。口を閉じてなさい。
that's for people that are close to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, hence tugging at the scarf. Yeah. Why am I remembering this now?
もう大丈夫だ。
Oh,
ミカサ。
but it's older Aaron's voice. Ow, 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 ow. What the heck? What the heck? What the?
I forgot about
What?
that.
What even was that?
I totally
What?
forgot that.
What?
これが悪魔の仕業。
Oh my god.
馬の仕業だと思うぞ。
The universe just decided
Oh my
to be
God.
like, and bump. Just.
ここは4年前に親を失っている子供たちの集まりなの。罪を受け入れてないようですね。
Wow,
島の神
Gabby.
は世界に対して残虐非道の限りを尽くした歴史をお忘れですか？それはみんなが親を亡くしたことと関係があるの？当然です。いくら善人のように振る舞おうとも逃れられる罪の重さではありません。マーレではそう教えられてるの？
何言ってんだよ。
これは普遍的な歴史の話だから。
Yeah,
な
yeah,
んて言い
yeah,
ました。
君たちはマーレから来たんでしょ？
yeah. Yeah, she could tell immediately.
Yeah.
最初からですか？恥ずかしいな、もう。
Gabby, 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 Gabby. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cut it out.
悪魔が正体を表した。おかしいと思ったんだ。
Yes. Gave you food
悪
and
魔がこんな親切
everything.
なはずな
Yeah.
い。
おい、バカか、お前。
お前ら何暴れてんだ。
ミヤがお兄ちゃん取られるって焼き餅焼いてるの。
危ないから。
Don't horse around.
はい。
Yeah, it's a good question.
We need to slowly unwind
4年
this.
前ここにも巨人が一体現れた。
Oh, wait.
その
This
巨
is
人を見
Connie's
た人は
village.
みんな逃げた。足の悪いお母さんを置き去りにして、あそこでお母さんが食べられる音を聞いてた。
Get
お
who
母
this
さん
is
は
now?
ずっと生きたまま食べられ
Connie's
てた。
sister?
次
No.
第に声も上げられなくなった。壁の外には人類がいて、私たちは悪魔の民族だって言ってるんでしょ。でも なんでそんなに恨まれているのかよくわからないの。ミア、ベン、教えて。お母さんは一体何をしたの？何をしたからこんなに恨まれているの？何千年も世界中の人々を虐殺したからでしょ。何千年？そんなことも忘れていたなんて。エルディア人は何千年もの間巨人の力で世界を支配し蹂躙してきたの。他の民族の文化を奪って望まれない子を産ませて数えきれないほど人を殺してきたの。被害者ぶるのはやめて。
Wow,
でもお
stop
母さんは
playing
こ
the
の辺で生
victim.
まれ育ったからそんなひどいことはしてないと思う。だから100年前あなたたちの先祖が犯した罪の大きさが問題なの。100年前って今生きている私たちは一体何の罪を犯しているの？ついこの間だって私の町を蹂躙した。私のお母さんが殺されたのは4年前だから。罪じゃない。先祖が世界中の人を虐殺
This is
したから
good. Gabby's just gonna unravel here.
ねえミア、ちゃんと答えて。なんでお母さんがあんなに苦しんで殺されたのか。何か理由があるんでしょ。そうじゃなきゃおかしいよ。なんでお母さんは生きたまま体を食べられたの？ねえ、何のために殺されたの？ねえ、なんで？
4年前のパラディ島侵攻の目的は大攻勢を見据えての威力偵察でした。カヤさんのお母さんはそれに巻き込まれたんです。お母さんには何の罪もありません。ごめんなさい。
She's the girl that Sasha saved all that time ago. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
でもレンが謝るのはおかしいよ。マーレで
Wow. Yeah.
Yep.
This is so good for these two.
Uh-huh.
カヤさんはその状況からどうやって
Not just for Gabi. Yeah.
今の私より少し年上ぐらいのお姉ちゃんが薪割り用の斧を持って入ってきて巨人相手に戦ったの。
そんな無茶だ。
Yeah.
結局お姉ちゃんは自分を盾にして巨人から私を逃がしてくれた。
Oh.
お姉ちゃんが生きてたら行くあてのないあなたたちを決して見捨てたりしない。
Oh boy.
私にそうしてくれたように今度マーレの人が働いてるレストランに招かれて、
Oh.
そこにあなたたちを連れて行けばマーレに帰る方法が見つかる。
Oh, is that gonna be? Is that gonna be
Niccolo?
Yeah,
私は
Niccolo.
お姉ちゃんみたいな人になりたいの。
Yeah. Oh my God! This episode.
Oh man.
This episode.
Oh boy.
This is so rare to have an Attack on Titan. Like, this is so special. Like, I want Falco to be endgame just in general because I love his character so much. But the fact that Gabi is getting this opportunity to just have all this
just
crap just
dredged up
dug
and,
up. Just be like, yeah, bring it up to the surface.
She's got to deal with it.
Yeah. Oh.
爆破され粉々になったジークの
Really?
部分的に見つかった。だが足りない。
Oh,
どれ
wow.
も両腕両足のものだ。我々を欺くために自ら
So they
を亡き者と装ったのだ。
Dang.
パラディと適正力と手を組み飛行船で逃げおおせたと見る。この対人型に改良された立体機
Oh,
動
that
装置
too. Yep.
マーレの技術が取り入れられている。今から半年以内にパラディ島に世界
6
連合軍による
months.
掃討
A
作戦
global
を
alliance offensive.
半
Yep.
年ですか。
Holy
ファルコのため
shit.
の救出も半年後でしょうか。あの二人は最も優秀
It's
な
actually
戦士候補
impressive
生
that
で
they're
す。
able to assemble the world.
In 6
マーレにと
months.
っては
Yeah.
大きな痛手になるかと。
世界連合軍の集結を待つ。
Dude, it's gonna be the rumbling versus the world.
マーレ軍は
Like,
すぐさま攻勢に転じることはないと。
Won't that be interesting?
そして半年後に潰されるのを策もなしにただ待っている人でもない。世界連合軍を待ってはいられません。今すぐに。
And Reiner's the one saying that. Reiner's saying that.
Reiner. An advanced
That's
force.
where it ends.
An advanced force.
That's where it ends. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh my god.
Boy.
Oh my god.
Well. Okay.
Wow. Nice. We got ourselves a very Gabi Falco
Yes.
focused episode on the idea of, well, when you've been brainwashed living in this society culture that, punishes you in this way. You see all these other people as the victims when you are actually living in this life as a victim. Like,
yeah, it's something where this episode, like, for a title as ominous as Deceiver, it was actually fairly mellow. Like we have now, granted, we had that whole bit of Gabi grabbing the pitchfork and the rock and things like that, right? But all total, it's like, okay, awesome. Gabi coming to grips with the fact that the way you've been raised, the things that you believe, there's more to it than that. Right?
Yeah, you've been living in deception, Gabi.
Yep.
And the issue with that is when you don't know what you don't know, you can't really help yourself in that case. You need to be thrust into a situation where everything is so entirely different that it forces you to grab a hold of something new. And the only thing that she really has to grab a hold of that she's maybe willing to, even in the slightest bit, is Falco.
And even then, she's not super willing.
Not really.
It's something where she doesn't want to admit that basically she's been, living in a cage like livestock, right?
Yep.
But that's what's been happening.
That is exactly
And now,
what's been
even when she sees the results of it, right? When she's on the island, right, with a bunch of her people, she desperately clings to the armband, even though it could, put her life in danger, right? Because, no, I'm one of the good Eldians, and without this piece of cloth that is...
a symbol of my oppression, really.
A symbol of my oppression, right? No, I can't let this happen. I can't even eat the food that they offer me because that would be admitting to myself that, oh yeah, shit, I was in a an internment zone.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then over here, they're, a bunch of them are orphans. They've all had, some pretty horrible things happen to them, but they seem pretty happy.
Yep, they get to live with a family that loves them.
Yep.
Takes care of them. Mm-hmm. It's so perfect that we had this episode be, kind of a little bit of a look to see the influence that characters have had on them in the past to build them up to this point where now they're able to be a part of the narrative. So we have Kaya, who is the girl who had her mother eaten by a titan, a very small, creepy titan.
Right, the 3 meter or whatever,
Yeah, exactly. And
Sasha saved her. Awesome moment.
Fantastic. I loved that reveal of this is the Browse family. I'm like, oh! Because then this is like, oh my God, Gabi, do you realize who you're talking to?
And she probably doesn't.
She will not realize it. She might never realize it. It makes no sense to bring it up. She never knew the name of who Sasha was.
Right, at most she might have heard Sasha of why the hell did you shoot Sasha? But even then, she doesn't know Browse.
She doesn't know Browse.
Yeah. So it's just, this is just a family,
Yeah, there's a very real possibility, though, that Kaya, at some point, is going to name drop just my sister... the one that saved me. She's kind of like my sister.
Right.
She was fighting over in Marley, and she died.
Yeah, my sister Sasha. And then it's...
Yeah, and that's the wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be awkward.
Yeah, that would be...
Oh, boy.
That would be a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
I would love to have that. This is also one of those things where they used the lines that Kaya had to draw special focus to Gabi's lines of why did... Zofia have to die? Why did Udo have to die?
Why did my mom have to die?
Mother have to suffer and die and stuff like that. And Falco coming to grips with it, of course, well in advance of Gabi because he's been.
He had the hard, cold shock with the conversation between Reiner and Eren.
Right, but even before that, he was already a little bit not fully dipped into the Kool-Aid.
Right, he wasn't drinking it. Yeah.
Yeah, he very much was.
This is the situation I'm in.
Yes, he was surrounded by it, but he wasn't making it a part of his identity.
Right.
And now we see where the parts of his identity did come in and that he's apologizing for Marley. Mm-hmm. And then she gives the line of, no, you don't need to apologize for Marley. You were just born there.
Which, blows me away.
That's such
because it's
crazy.
Holy shit.
That's
holy
so good.
Shit. That is...
for a kid to get that is it's so good. It's also the thing of where it kind of brings up again Gabi's and Falco's old lifestyle into perspective there of wait you don't need to apologize for being born.
Yeah,
you
were born into
this world. Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
This is an iteration on the same line in that. Yeah. I understand you guys might have, and it seems like you definitely were born into some kind of system of oppression and very ridiculously over-the-top brainwashing, but you believe it. And yet, you know, yeah, our ancestors might have done those things. Yeah, but what does that have to do with you?
Yeah.
It's something that is so, I mean, it's such a whole ordeal, because there is so much internalized guilt that can come into a person's life because of things that they believe regarding those who taught them. So like parents, their schools, their general environment, and what have you. So it also feels a little bit like just another iteration of what Grisha and Dinah were setting up with regards to Zeke.
Yep, the cycle repeats itself.
But
with things like this,
yeah.
Oh, okay, maybe there is some hope for the future, right? Because while we couldn't necessarily expect, a random kid to have the kind of insight and wisdom that Kaya was spitting here, right? That can't happen, right? Yeah. It's not. All is not lost necessarily, right?
Yeah.
There is probably some way forward through all of this, whatever,
for humanity,
right? For humanity, right? Yeah. In as a general thing, but then also, in another lens, there is probably going to be some iteration through the timeline or whatever of paths and all that, whatever crazy, save me Casa and Armin, stuff where we'll get a happy ending. Hopefully, the
happy ending is Falco survives.
Oh man,
I want Gabi to survive too. Mm-hmm. I in some ways, I feel like this episode is a better one at making you kind of your stomach turn when you see and hear Gabi, because one, she nearly murdered Kaya.
Yep, she definitely murdered that guard
because she was too kind. Do you realize how just completely screwed up that is? Because I've seen this kind of a response, not in the murder sense, but in the extreme distrust, insecure, not hatred, but the fear, I would say.
Yeah, there must be something else at play here, because nothing's free.
Right. So the name Deceiver here, which I feel like is getting more and more apt, as
you think about it,
is that Gabi is looking around and sees everyone as a bunch of deceivers.
Yep.
But I love that in this whole thing here, she hasn't turned against Falco yet.
Right.
It's kind of telling, if you will, that when it comes down to
Jiminy Cricket kind of.
Right, totally. But it's something that shows that she doesn't even fully believe in the deception, because she sees Falco as arbitrarily good, because he happened to be born in the same place she was.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's something that if she's able to pull back and look at this, which she will eventually.
Right. It's something where it's how much of it is just need for survival.
Totally.
She'll do better alone. And,
she's
and then
panicking
and then
right
guilt
now.
on her own side, because why did you come with me?
She's scared.
You didn't have to die too. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, if she really was going to go with the drinking the Kool-Aid thing, when Falco starts saying things to the contrary,
he should be in the bad list, right?
Right, exactly. Is he becoming a bad eldian?
Is he going to be like Zeke and betray you too?
Right, or these devilish farmers giving you the soup and everything?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so then all of them who are so compelling with their kindness and everything, they're pulling Falco away from you. Now, there's a very real opportunity in the story for Gabi to full-on panic and disassociate completely from Falco and run and just be like, I can only survive by myself.
And there was that initial point where she grabbed that pitchfork, even though if she had just been, aware, she would have realized, there's other people over there that are bigger than me, and this is even if I wanted to, even though I want to kill this girl, right, for the reasons that she has, that is not actually a good idea now.
They'll call the soldiers and bring them over here.
Yeah, it is not in my best interest to do this. And yet, because this is what I've been programmed with since, since I could talk, or before then, right? Mm-hmm. This is what I have to do.
Yeah. And,
the parallels with her and Reiner and Eren in their situations,
totally.
are, oh man, I can totally see if this basically continued or whatever. You look 10 years down the road and Gabi is back, and maybe she's been a warrior for a while, and she's telling her family, oh yeah, they offered me their soup, but they were devils. It was terrible soup. Did you see those beans? And then her parents look at her all horrified.
Right. That definitely could happen if the story
goes that far.
There's a possibility that the story's probably going to go farther back than it's going to go actually forward, if anything, because we've got the whole potential time loop situation.
Right.
So, Gabi and Falco, potential hope for the future for those in the outside world who see Eldians as evil, because this type of experience is something...
It's a rude awakening.
It's something that can't also be quantified because it's the basic elements of human decency and connection.
Right. You can't be told what the Matrix is. Like, this is the kind of thing where if Gabi... Gabi had heard stuff like this, right?
Yeah.
And she didn't believe it. Did you see it? That kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So even though this is kind of a condensed, rapid fire, cold dunk in the water,
very cold dunk in the water. Wake up, Gabi!
For Gabi,
wake up!
It's not too different than what it was for Reiner and Eren, and even the part of the refusing to eat the food under the roof, it's almost like she can tell that if she lets that happen, then she'll have to realize, shit, these are regular people. And she even had some points where she called them these people, not these devils.
This is honestly this is a weird tangent to take this on, but this is why every person should travel outside their country. At some point.
Okay. All right.
Because I'm not talking about things on the level of extreme
we must kill the devils and all that.
Kill the devils or anything like that. But I'm talking about the internal biases that you accept about yourself.
Yeah, just to see how little you know.
In general, to show how little you know when you then go outside your circle and your comfort zone.
Yep, how different things can be and
other people live their lives.
Right.
And it is eye-opening.
Yeah, this almost feels like a... it's a bit different, but it reminds me of that feeling that I sometimes get when I'm in traffic, right? And all of a sudden I look around and I'm because it's in traffic, right? And then I realize, holy shit, this is...
There's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people around here, and this is a small fraction of just the area that I live in.
Yep.
There's
a transcendent experience that is in some ways very much similar to, I would guess, what it is to probably connect to paths. That you realize you're probably just one
tiny little
drop
speck.
in the whole, network of humanity, basically.
Yeah.
And I've had this experience as well, where I basically did the anime reaching up to the sky thing when I was hiking with some friends, and I saw a plane up in the sky. And it was a little blip, and I realized that there were hundreds of people in that speck up in the sky. And because of my forced perspective of being so far away, it looked like I could hold it all in my hand, and I realized, oh my God, in that plane, there are hundreds of people with dreams, families, loved ones, connections.
They have a reason for being way up there.
Yeah, and I'll never know who they are.
Yep. And they will never know who you are.
They'll never know who I am, but I saw them. I observed them. And that... there's something really special if Attack on Titan is...
you're reborn tonight. I don't know why that came to mind specifically,
it's the best kind of paths moment where Ymir has her elation and her elevation, her transcendent kind of moment. But, okay, getting off track here a little bit, but that is something that I love when Attack on Titan gets into that, because it's not about the fantastical kind of science fantasy kind of nature of the show. It's just, this is an aspect of humanity. There are so many people out there that don't believe that humans can be good, decent people, that there has to be some kind of ulterior motive. I've said, I don't want to get too personal here, but I have experienced personally where people experience some form of hospitality, which to others, it's not anything special. It's just basic decency. And they're no. And it makes them feel restricted, it's hard for them to breathe. They're nope, this is suffocating. Someone's going to try and control me and abuse me and take, advantage of me in some instance here. And then they have to leave,
And it is crazy how deep-rooted that stuff can go. Because having it be like okay, you know, if someone's a bit pessimistic, a bit jaded, I could totally understand them being like, hold on, do you want something from me? Like, you know, is it, like let's cut the bullshit.
We're advertised enough to in our modern
right,
day
exactly.
Right now,
we know how that kind of stuff works, you know, at least decently well.
Hopefully.
But the idea that like no, over like years potentially, that can just be something that doesn't go away, right? And it's just
oh man.
So
and how would you know if you're experiencing that or not yourself? Like
Right.
what areas
Yeah.
in your life are you living in that and you just don't know because you've never you haven't seen it. You haven't seen the opposite. You don't know what's going on out there. So it's a really crazy cool thing to discuss.
Yeah, there was a line that I saw somewhere, I can't remember what it was, where it was like we take basically people's past traumas and then we categorize it as just personality. Oh. When it's like, you know, as just like, oh, they're just a fun, quirky person, and it's like, no. Those little idiosyncrasies and things that you see
are tied to a bunch of stories.
There's a story behind there, right? And sometimes it can get real messed up, right?
Yeah.
And you know, Gabi.
Yeah. Good luck.
Buckle up.
Yep.
You know.
Lean on Falco. And Falco, lean on her, because there's going to be points where you'll need her strength, probably.
And maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to lean on Kaya. Who knows? Like the fact that she was like, hey, if you want to get back home, I know a restaurant that's run by Marley, and you know, like you might be
it's all coming there.
Yeah,
it's all coming together.
I love it when a plan comes together.
It's all coming together.
Right.
This is so good. And then there's a possibility that because they're out and about and things like that they could end up at least maybe moving in closer proximity to where Zeke is.
Yeah, maybe.
There could be some
Who
cool
knows?
stuff that happens there. Big thing, though, that happened this episode that needs to be discussed. The Hanji situation bearing the burden of leadership.
Yeah.
She mentioned the whole thing in the previous episode about why Erwin, you know, leaving her in charge like this is like, oh, okay, gotcha. But then we had the stuff with the general investigation of stuff going on with Flock and his people who leaked info about Eren. This is the kind of stuff that starts like not a revolution, but like the earlier seeds of that.
Right. It's
where
the thing.
we're then going to get a demonstration. Then we're going to get, you know, some kind of large rally. Then we're going to get, you know, like a protest. Then we're going to get, it
gets out of control. And oh boy, that almost feels like a little sub-cycle of its own. But, you know, with the reporter dude, sure. And with the reporter dude, he's like, hey, Hanji, didn't you say that it's the you know, like the taxpayers get to know how to know the information and all that stuff? And she's like, well, we thought we were the only humans alive at that point, so it's a bit different now. You know,
is it though, Hanji?
But is it right? And she doesn't actually end up telling him, "You can trust me," right?
Nope.
And she thinks back to the guy from the interior, military police, right? That did all those horrible things, and then they did those horrible things to him, and him being like, "Hey, I know my role, and you're taking my role. That's fine, but eventually someone will come to take yours too."
Yep. There we go.
Yep.
But the investigation leads Pixis, the galaxy brain Pixis. They prepped us for this with his swollen cranium.
Right.
Showing him going to Yelena, drawing a connection between Eren, Flock, Yelena, and then by extension Zeke.
Right.
With Eren potentially going to Marley. So this whole thing now
starting to really...
I can see a very fuzzy picture right now. So here's what it looks like to me.
Almost like you're looking at it through Titan fur or some kind of thing like
God,
that.
Please. I think that this whole thing was set up in some way so that Zeke could get Eren away from everyone.
Okay.
And thus have him potentially then go to Marley. Which then, if Yelena had some kind of a conversation with Eren, that's something...
That's how they would have communicated.
That's how they would have communicated initially. Then, if Zeke has something to where he can arrest Eren's attention and be like, you need to have this conversation with me.
Sure, kind of a, that would feel very much, especially with the rumbling at stake, it feels very kind of, the dude from Watchmen that has like the way to convince Dr. Manhattan kind of a thing, like, you know, shows him the TV, something like that, where once the information is communicated, he kind of guarantees Aaron's like cooperation in some way.
And not his cooperation with regards to anything regarding his plan, but just that he's like, okay, I will definitely hear you out.
Sure. Yeah. You have my attention.
Yeah. And then Aaron needs to sneak out. He needs to get away in a way where no one else is going to basically be able to follow him. And then the part that's probably like I would hope something would happen in this regard is that either Aaron gets like some kind of a conversation with someone with regards to his close friends and stuff. I hope it's at least like Armin or something like that, because Armin and him seem to have a little bit more of the like, I know where you stand kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Whereas Mikasa had the come home.
Right.
Please just come home.
Yeah.
She didn't get to say like, please, like stay with us. So Aaron leaves. He goes and either goes on his like kind of
see things from the perspective of the Marleys.
Yeah,
you know?
he travels, if you will.
Right.
He needs to go and
he sleeps under their roofs. He eats their food. You know, and
Gabi and Falco.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that leads him to a set of conclusions that we don't even fully understand.
Yeah, we don't fully understand them
like
yet.
There's no malice in his heart necessarily, but he's still doing a lot of sketchy stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
He will move forward until he destroys his enemies. Yeah.
Right.
And that's something that he was resolved to do at the very least once he heard Willie's speech. And that's why Willie's speech was really important. But that's something that feels like it was like I'm teetering on the edge of how I want to do this here, or where my role in all this should be. And then Willie and Reiner and that whole thing kind of solidified it. But he had to have at the very least been brought a little bit closer to the middle, like the edge of the knife, probably in the interaction he had with Zeke.
Yeah.
And that was probably the moment where
something
big like happened. And I would say that the most probable thing is that he's like, let's use this. Let's join hands, and let's at least see what we're capable of. At least see what we can do here. And I'm guessing then it's more of a thing of where Reiner, why do I call him Reiner? Freaking Zeke. It's just all these blondes in this show.
Yeah.
Zeke is probably not able to do anything without Aaron being willing, you know?
Right. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And then they tap into paths. It goes into like the whole thing of just, what are we going to do? Like, what are we going to do? And Aaron's not certain. Like there's no way he could be like certain about like, there's no easy path, if you will.
God, the irony. Like,
yeah.
But if it was, then there wouldn't be that mirror conversation, right? You know, of psyching himself up, Tatakai, right? So
yeah. But now we know some of the timelines with regards to this, and I think we've doubly confirmed the Zeke involvement because it was Yelena.
Yeah, probably
that probably instigated a lot of this.
That kind of was the person that set up the meeting, probably, basically, with Aaron and Zeke, of like, okay, you really should see your brother. You know?
That's where the long con of this comes into play, with Zeke being, well, probably the deceiver here, is that
it does seem to be being set up that way.
Right, that they didn't come just to share info and build the alliance. It's that, well, I needed someone who could get eventually close to Aaron and pass along, pass along a message.
And it was part of Zeke's plan to get the whole, like attack on Parody Island, with Willie and all of that stuff in the first place. So it's like, what is your plan, Wonder Boy? Like, what is the secret of your power?
Wonder Boy. Oh my God.
But
we can only guess. We can only guess.
But man, this like the fact that they end of the previous episode, they're like, all right, we're going to have a conversation with Eren, you know? And then this episode, it's like, no. Let's just completely, like, leave all of that behind. Let's have random moments with a horse trying to, like, you know, bite Gabi's head and stuff, and buckets ricocheting at, you know, crazy angles and stuff.
It's Charlotte from Charlotte's descendant.
There's a part of me that wonders, like, wait, is this actually just
horse.
the same horse? Because I don't know if the horse was actually killed in season 1.
So if I remember
it's only
correctly,
4 years since then, or maybe 4.5.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Annie gets attacked,
and I think she
by him, and she him, sends him off. The horse was nowhere near there.
Right, yeah, because she got him mid attack.
There was one character where she full on just punted person and horse.
Yes, I don't think that was him.
I don't think that was him.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of things where they're just like, this is the Easter egg episode. We're going to have a bunch of little things that are callbacks to earlier seasons.
Yep.
Which, hey, I wasn't right about the whole thing of them being there being an extra flashback, you know, just before, this.
Yeah.
But they did, if anything, in this episode, set up.
They did several flashbacks. Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think they did a flashback.
Or not flashbacks.
They just shifted perspective, but they literally mentioned the 10 months ago, which is some stuff happened.
That fits in the about a year ago.
About a year ago for the thing. So it's the maybe next episode or in 2 episodes from now we'll get that. And if we get that, oh my god.
The other thing that we got this episode that was very short as far as time of the episode, but I feel like it's worth bringing up, is Mikasa's whole bit. Because,
with Louise,
Mikasa, because she's a quieter character, it's easier to just kind of have her fade into the background of like, yes, Mikasa, is all about Eren, right?
Not as much anymore.
Not as much anymore, which is kind of crazy considering that, like, she did have the super traumatic backstory. I get saved by the MC and, he changes my whole perspective on life and things like that. So, now he's in prison, right? That's something she'll have to grapple with. Yeah.
And her hearing Eren's more adult voice over the flashback mini, like, why am I remembering this now moment? Yeah. Yeah. That was something we've never really seen before in that dramatic of a fashion in Attack on Titan, where it felt like it was an induced attack of sorts, like not an attack.
Right, because there's Attack on Titan, why am I remembering this now? That's totally a meme,
that's
right?
A thing.
That's a thing. But it usually is like, something like...
It's just a flash.
It's just a flash of something very simple,
Whereas this
usually.
felt like she was like I'm experiencing this right now, like the salute that Louise gave. Mm-hmm. Like full on, immersed her back into that. So it's just, oh boy. All right, well, we get probably our quietest episode thus far.
Yeah, this was pretty quiet.
Season 4.
Which is, brick sock, in
the beginning.
and potential pitchforking a child, that aside.
Right, that aside.
Yeah. But so what should the code be for the discussion for YouTube comments?
Well, in a rough
rude awakening
way,
I don't know.
No, it has to be one word. In a rough kind of way of it, I think that bit at the end with Kaya and just the realization maybe that Falco and Gabi are just like, no, there wasn't any they were innocent, like they weren't. There was no one's fault for her, like she wasn't at fault why she had to die or anything like that.
So maybe just Kaya,
I think Kaya's a great one for this.
Okay. Kaya. So
Kaya.
If you want a chance to have your comments be featured in the next episode, fit Kaya into your comment somewhere.
But guys, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. I didn't get to go into my dad's whole discussion side of things because it just didn't seem relevant
really come
here.
up. Yeah.
But Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see a full-length timer version of this episode's reaction and discussion, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. Any level of support there gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. There's also stuff for people that are like manga or anime only.
Yes, indeed.
Like,
indeed.
Stuff there.
Sadly, I'm not on the manga channel anymore because I'm waiting for the final chapter to come out.
Cool,
Catch back
cool.
up, but yeah.
So if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
Next time.